This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing
It's
News.
a black tuxedo.
And I want to tell you about the fight that I witnessed last night. A massive KO of Brandon Bam Bam Rios to the hands of Danny Garcia. Mr. Swift came in there. He was there to prove a point, but he should have done exactly what he's supposed to, because if had he not knocked out Brandon Rios, he would have been criticized. But guess what? He's going to be criticized anyway, because the way that he knocked him out like he knocked out Salka or Morales after his prime. So he shouldn't get too much credit for it, but he does show you that he still has strength in both hands. You know what I mean? He can knock you out with the left hook. He can knock you out with the straight cross or the right hook. Um, but he really, he's getting a lot of flack because, Sean Porter, he's supposed to fall Sean Porter, and somehow he got his way out of that fight. But I look at this man. I see fights like this, and I'm glad fights like this happen just to show where people are skill wise. Brandon Rios went in there, and it was almost like Brandon Rios was, you could tell he was a tough guy. He was durable. He took some shots early on because he got knocked out in the 8th round, but he took some shots. Now, he did land some shots, but it shows you, where they're at, the skill level, the toughness level, the durability, and I've said it. I don't think Brandon Rios is really meant to be in 147. It kind of reminds me of Arturo Gatti. Every time Arturo Gatti came to 147, a lot of those times he got stopped because he really is not a 147 pounder. Welterweights are a lot different from junior welterweights. Brandon Rios is an out of shape junior welterweight, a blown up junior welterweight. That's what he is. You can tell in his back. You can see his, you know what I'm saying, his the jelly rolls on his back. He's not, he's not in the best shape anyway. And I don't know. I question a lot of things. He needs a nutritionist. He needs someone that teaches him how to eat. It's like he might train hard, but he'll get off and eat some tacos or some shit. You know what I mean? Like a lot of bullshit. And but again, I don't think he was a 147 pounder anyway. But that may just be how that was, because at 140, if they were both at 140, because Danny Garcia just came from 140. So that's really not a good enough excuse. The fact of the matter was Danny Garcia was just so much more talented than him. You could see the skill level. Danny Garcia is a B+. Brandon Rios is a C-. Brandon Rios was reviewed as a B+ back in the day, 3-4 years ago, but he's not now. You talking to a guy, talking about a guy rather, that already retired. He retired once before, so he wasn't no damn, hot prospect. He was a gatekeeper at best. He was a gatekeeper. Victor Ortiz, that should have been the fight that should have been fought. It was actually backwards. If you look at that card, you look at Devin Alexander fighting Victor Ortiz, then you look at Danny Garcia fighting Brandon Rios. That should have been Brandon Rios fighting Victor Ortiz, since they're rivals. They know each other. They hate each other. They have beef. That would have been more entertaining, or that would have been more equally matched than Devin Alexander fighting Danny Garcia. I still would have favored Garcia over Devin Alexander because he was once a good prospect himself, right? But that would have been better in skill set. You know what I mean? Now that I think about it, if you matched up Victor Ortiz and Danny Garcia, don't be surprised if that fight happens next. Because Danny Garcia is really known for, picking guys, but he's had a long layoff. So, you don't want to throw him back in there with just anybody, which I can understand that. So, you can't fault Garcia for just, not wanting to fight him. Brandon Rios he's a good tune-up fight. You know what I mean? Because he has a name. He fought Pacquiao. He had his wars with Mike Alvarado. He got a gift disqualification win against the Argentinian. I can't remember his name right now. Um, I cannot remember his name, but that was a real weird fight, you know, and he was a top prospect at that time. So so Brandon Rios was a perfect pick for somebody like Danny Garcia right now, you know. But Danny Garcia showed he had skill, and he just didn't take no. Again, he didn't take no ass whooping, just an ass whooping from Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman just knew how to outwork him and outbox him. That's all it was. Keith Thurman he's knowing the levels and the game quite well when it comes to the guys to fight, the way you're supposed to fight them, you know, and he fought Danny Garcia the way he's supposed to. Danny Garcia, I feel, didn't really throw him as many punches in that fight because, you know, he was worried about what was coming back. Because, you know, Keith Thurman has a great right hand and he loops his right hand, you know. And I think he hurt Danny. But, you know, again, you're talking about a fighter that has never dropped to the canvas. Danny Garcia has never been dropped. But he hit that boy and made his neck do a little, man. And Brandon Rios, he should be a prospect. He's made his money. I hope he saved his money. But this shows he shouldn't have been in there with Danny Garcia. But Danny Garcia showed him where his level was versus where his was. But it was a good little scrap for how long it lasted, you know. But even the punches that Brandon Rios was throwing, they wasn't even missing because he wasn't even positioning his punches. His punch placement was off. It was like a tough cholo kid fighting a trained boxer. That's what it looked like. So, you know, but the fight was good. The whole card was good. You know, I sit there and watch all these damn fights knowing I had to be up at 4 a.m. That's how good it was. So, you know, sacrifices are sacrifices for the love of boxing. But you guys tell me what you think about this guy, about this knockout. You know, if you want to see the knockout, of course, it's on my Counterpunch Boxing News Facebook page. Look it up. It's there. Counterpunch Boxing News. And you'll see a massive knockout as well. Got a lot of cool stuff on there. Please subscribe to the channel. And please leave me your remarks. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.